Hey, I'm Bryce McBeth, founder and president of Reap Commerce. We help e-commerce businesses get more sales from their existing traffic through conversion rate optimization. We also help with digital advertising and with Amazon. I'm not going to sit here and get in the way with all the great things that Ryan has to share with you today about Amazon, so I'm going to quickly pass it on to him. But stick around. I have a few extra bonus items for you at the end. I'll offer you 3 quick, free, and easy changes you can make to your website to prevent people from bailing. So let's get those conversion rates up. And we'll also help give you some instructions on how you can engage Reap to either help you with your Amazon and conversion rate optimization or direct you where you can get some more how-to instructions for all you do-it-yourselfers. Okay, so with that, here's Ryan.
Hi everyone, and welcome to our first Amazon Masterclass. Before I begin, I want to introduce myself. My name is Ryan Gaffney, and I am with Reap Commerce. I am an e-commerce merchandising specialist with a focus on Amazon. So I help different brands build their Amazon presence. In today's first class, we're going to go over the very basics of Amazon. So how to create an account, and what are some examples of a good product listing, and what are some examples of a bad product listing. So let's begin. So today we're going to go over what's needed to create an Amazon account. We're going to go over the account overview, so looking at the Amazon dashboard. And then we'll go over some inventory basics, and I'll briefly describe what the flywheel overview is. And then I will send it off to Bryce McBeth, our founder and CEO of Reap Commerce, to discuss some CRO basics. So what's needed to create an Amazon Seller Central account? So billing information. Amazon will need a credit card, not a debit card, but a credit card to be put on file to charge the $39.99 monthly fee, as well as any advertising cost. They'll want your deposit method. So your bank's location, the account holder name, the 9-digit routing number, as well as the bank account number. Your tax information. So they're going to want to know your social security number and your EIN, which is your employee identification number. Some more identity information. Amazon's going to want your driver's license number, the expiration date, the country of issue, your first and last name, date of birth, and your business address. So more identity documents. So Amazon's going to require that you upload the front and back of your driver's license, as well as a copy of your business bank statement. So this whole process, once you submit all of this information, typically takes about 48 hours for Amazon to review and approve you. So Amazon's really just making sure that you are a legit business and you are who you say you are. And usually it'll only take about 48 hours, and then you can begin selling. So here's what some of that information looks like when you submit it to Amazon. So your business address, and you can choose your unique business display name. So this can be anything that you want, but I highly recommend that it's the name of your business. So if your business is like Sherry's Chocolates, then I would recommend that you put Sherry's Chocolates as your unique business display name, because that's what sellers are going to see. So setting up your billing method, here's where you'll enter your card information. And then here's you're going to be submitting your tax information, so your EIN and your social security number, as well as the front and back side of your driver's license. And then here you will upload your bank account statement for your business. So let's look at the Amazon dashboard to get an account overview. So in this module, you're going to see your orders. So you'll see any new orders, any pending orders, which pending orders is typically when a buyer's bank is waiting to approve of them purchasing your product. So most of the time, any pending orders that you see will come over as a new order. And then in this section, you'll also be able to see any return requests. So if any of your customers are wanting to return an item that they have purchased from you, you'll see that number reflect in this section. In your dashboard, you'll also see any buyer messages. So with buyer messages, you have to respond within 24 hours. Amazon does not care if it's the weekend, if it's a holiday, or whatever the situation might be. You need to respond to any buyer messages within 24 hours. If not, they will kind of ding your account. Your customer feedback. So this is where you can see any feedback from your customers. So it's a little bit different than your product feedback. This is just feedback from buyers of you in general as a seller. So not necessarily just your product, but you as a seller. And in this module, you'll see your sales summary. So you're going to be able to see what you've made today, in the past 7 days, 15 days, and 30 days. So that's a nice quick look of what sales you have made. So let's go a little bit more in depth on your account overview. So like I said earlier, your orders in this section of the dashboard, you'll be able to see all orders, pending, new, and return request. Buyer messages again must be responded to within 24 hours, even on weekdays and holidays. And that customer feedback, you want to make sure that you're getting as close to it, that 5 stars as possible, but this is the feedback from your customers as you as a seller, not necessarily just your products. So what are some good listings? What makes a good product listing? So here is an example of a client of ours that we just started. Here's their listing. So using several images, Amazon recommends anywhere from 5 to 7 images to be used. So having your main image, and then I recommend some lifestyle images so that your customers can get a feel of what this product might look like on them or in their home, whatever your product may be. And then using a long tail title that has important search phrases is crucial. So you want what people could be searching in this search bar in Amazon to be in your title that relates to what you're selling. And making sure that you're using all 5 bullet points. And I highly recommend capitalizing the beginning of each sentence. And this is another part where you can include those important search phrases. So let's dive into this a little bit in more detail. So with images, like I said, it's highly recommended to have at least 5 images, preferably 7. That main image background must be white. It cannot have any color in the background. It can't be a live photo. It has to be pure white as the background. Any additional images can have a background, and I would recommend that they're lifestyle images just to kind of give that emotional connection to the buyer. And then all image dimensions must be 1,000 pixels or greater, just to really show your product in the best light possible. And again, that title is highly recommended that it's 100 characters. So 100 characters will still show on mobile, and we all know that most shoppers shop using their mobile devices, so anything longer than 100 characters can break off on mobile. So that's where that 100 characters is really that sweet spot that we're looking for. Bullet points. So again, we want to make sure that we're using all 5 bullet points that Amazon allows you to put on your product listing, and making sure that we're using those valuable search terms in this section of your product listing. You can't see it from this example here, but your description. So we want to make sure that we're using about 1,000 characters, and that it's another crucial place to have valuable search terms that really describe your product in detail, and making sure that you're including key phrases that people might be searching to find your product. In your rating, you want to aim for 4 stars and above. So Amazon considers a great rating of 4 to 5 stars. 3.5 is considered good, but we want to aim for 4 stars and above. In reviews, so you want to get to 10 reviews as fast as possible as a new seller. People really start to take your product serious once they see about 20 reviews and more. That's when they start feeling more trusting of your product. So let's look at some examples of good product listings. So as you see here from the brand Pavoy, I might be pronouncing that wrong, but they have a 9.41 out of 10 rating for Amazon product listing. So what could they have done to get that perfect 10 out of 10 score? Their title. So it's less than 100 characters, and they're kind of lacking some key search phrases that they could have put in their title to make it that 10 out of 10 score that everyone should be striving for. They have their 5 bullet points, and I do recommend this first bullet point to be all capitalized like the rest of them to kind of keep it consistent, but that title is what's throwing them off. Here's another example from Miku. You can see that they have a 9.25 out of 10. You probably won't be able to guess what they're lacking on this screenshot because you can't see it. But they do have several images. They have those lifestyle images. They have a long title, maybe a little too long because, again, longer than that 100 characters is going to break on mobile. And they are using all 5 bullet points. I would recommend capitalizing the beginning of each, but where they're lacking to get that perfect 10 out of 10 score is in their product description. So as you can see here, they're missing some really key features here. It's pretty sparse here. They could be including very important search phrases that customers could be using to find their products. So I would highly recommend that they would redo their product description. Here's another example. They're so close to getting that 10 out of 10. They have a 9.68. So very close. So what are they missing to get that 10 out of 10? It's an image. If they just had one more product image, they would have a 10 out of 10 score. You can see here what they do well is they're putting a size to scale images right here so that customers are able to see, the true size of their product. But if they were to just include one more image of maybe a close-up of the jewel on their item or another lifestyle image, they would have a 10 out of 10 score. So now that we've looked at some good examples, let's see what some bad listing examples are. So here's a listing from Lucky Brand. I think it's kind of obvious here what they're lacking, but we'll go over what they could improve on to get their score higher, to get closer to that 10 out of 10. So let's start with images. They're only using 2 images. However, they do have a video, so that's great. It really gives more in-depth look of their product. But their image is only a close-up of the product, a size to scale image, but they're lacking any lifestyle imagery, which really isn't helping their customers connect to their product. So I would highly recommend adding several lifestyle images here to improve that score. Next is they have a very short title and they're not using valuable search phrases. So their title is just Lucky Brand Big Hammered Hoop Earrings, Silver, one size. So this title is not doing them justice. So I would definitely recommend that they redo their title, include important search phrases, and make it at least that 100 character count. So what else are they lacking? the 5 bullet points. They're only using one, and it reads Lucky Brand Big Silver Hammered Hoop Earring. So they're literally just using what their title says as their bullet point. That is not helpful at all. This is an area where you can include information that isn't in your title with important search phrases to help customers find your product. So highly, highly would recommend that they do 5 bullet points and go way more in depth on what their product is. Here's another example from Kate Spade. They have a 5.87 out of 10, so decent, but obviously has room for improvement. So what are those areas that they can improve on? Images. So they have more images than the last example, but they're still lacking. So they only have 4 images in that one video. So they're showing 2 images of the product, a size to scale image, and what looks to be how this product is packaged in their video. So if they just included, again, some lifestyle imagery here, I think that would really help this product listing. Again, the short title, they're not using valuable search phrases, so just Kate Spade New York women stop and smell the roses. IDM Bangle, that's not helping this product. When people search to find a bracelet, unless they're specifically finding this bracelet, and if it's called Stop and Smell the Roses, they really should reword that, because people who might be searching women's bracelet, that's going to be hard to find the Stop and Smell the Roses. So I would recommend redoing this title. And again, they're only using 2 bullet points, and one of the bullet points just says imported. That's not helping this product be found by customers. Customers are not going to just search just the word imported when searching for a bracelet. So really recommend them using all 5 with key product search phrases. Here is another example of a listing that could use some improvement. So again, Lucky Brand is an example. They have a 4.15 out of 10. They're only using 2 images and 1 video. They only have a close, like the product image, a size to scale, and a video. So again, no lifestyle imagery. They're not showing how the product is packaged. So I would highly recommend that they do that. And they have a short title. It reads Lucky Brand Woman's Sugar Plum Fringe Pendant Necklace. So I do like that they put fringe pendant necklace. That's a good search phrase, but they're still lacking a lot of room where they could include other search phrases within that title and to get it to 100 characters long. And they're also only using 1 bullet point. Fashion jewelry with intricate metal details in stone. So it's decent, but they can include better search phrases, and then they can definitely include 4 more bullet points with capitalizing the beginning of each sentence to make it stand out to the customer. So now let's go over some inventory basics. So your first 6 months as a new seller on Amazon is crucial. So it determines how Amazon will treat your brand and how you could be ranked moving forward for the rest of your seller lifetime on Amazon. So you want to make sure that your first 6 months as a seller on Amazon goes as smooth as possible. You want to plan ahead. You should have stock of at least 3 months worth of inventory. Running out of stock on Amazon is the cardinal sin. So it's one of the worst situations you can put your account in. It can completely ruin any previous traction, momentum your account has built. So let's say you've built advertisements and campaigns to advertise your product. If you run out of inventory of that product, your advertisement will be shut down, and then you'll have to build all of that momentum up from the ground up again. So it's starting completely over. So that's one of the worst things you can do on Amazon is run out of inventory. I can't stress that enough. You do not want to run out of inventory. I'm going to briefly go over the Amazon flywheel. We will definitely revisit this in a later course session, but I just wanted to show you this and kind of just go over it very briefly. So when is an ASIN ready for advertising? So first you might be asking, what's an ASIN? An ASIN is really just Amazon's product ID that they put to your product. So it's just an ID of your product. So just think of ASIN as like your product's ID. So when is it ready for advertising? So when brand registry is complete. Again, we'll talk about brand registry in a later module, but that's just registering your brand on Amazon. You're going to be submitting some more documents that are more than just that initial account setup documents, but it's really just showing Amazon that you're serious as a seller. So just getting that brand registry set up, that's step one. PDP content is complete. So making sure that your product listing is fully optimized. You want to include some A+ content, which again, we'll go over that in a later module. It's really just kind of some more in-depth product listing to make it look more custom. And your brand store is live. So you can actually build a whole brand store on Amazon that looks similar to a website. Again, we'll discuss this in a later module, but making sure that that's live to give your brand a better presence on Amazon. That your product has 15 or more reviews with an average 3.5 star rating or better, preferably 4 stars, but 3.5 is acceptable. And that your product is consistently in stock. So like I mentioned earlier, having inventory on your product and keeping inventory is crucial. And buy box issues are addressed. So you want to make sure that you have the buy box 100% of the time. So in a later module, we'll go over what the buy box is, but essentially it is as simple as that add to cart button. You might be surprised, but you automatically don't get the add to cart button on your product listing. That's something that you have to earn and prove to Amazon that you are a valid seller and that you're able to fulfill your orders in a timely manner. Then you can win the buy box. Again, we'll go over all of these things that I've just mentioned in a later module and in more depth. We'll also just cover quickly the 5 pillars for success on Amazon, and we'll discuss this in more detail in a later module. But this is just something that I wanted you to see to start out with. So we want to make sure we're proactive and have a sustainable strategy. We want to develop and iterate on the correct strategy. So we want to make sure we're starting Amazon off correctly. We want to improve customer experience and maintain control of the brand. We want to find opportunities for incremental growth. So once you have your product listing set up, you're not finished. There's always room for growth. We want to constantly be updating our products and making sure that our ads are set up correctly. Proper and accurate item setup. So kind of what I just said, we want to create a sound assortment strategy. We want to avoid any problems and item suppression. So Amazon can suppress your item if there's any issues. And again, we'll go over that in a later module. But we want to just make sure that we're avoiding all problems with Amazon. And we want to increase shoppability of items on Amazon. So we want to make sure that customers are able to find your items and check out with your items with ease. Financial viability for brand and Amazon. So we want to make sure that we're running a sustainable business on Amazon. We want to make sure that we're making true profits from it and making sure that Amazon takes a 15% fee of everything you're selling. So are you being truly profitable on Amazon? So we're going to understand that cost to serve fee structure with Amazon and winning the buy box profitability. Like I mentioned before, you have to win the buy box. You're not just granted the buy box automatically. Receiving traffic and activity. So generate traffic to product pages. So setting up those campaigns to get your products on that first search result page to bring in that traffic, which should generate into sales. We're going to execute and optimize paid search budget, and we're going to win more real estate on that first product page of search results. So we want to make sure that we get your product onto that first search result page when someone is searching something that could be valuable to your listing. And we're going to improve search relevancy and build brand awareness. And then lastly, items consistently in stock and buyable. So the most crucial thing you can do on Amazon. I think I've stressed that enough on this lesson. But we're going to utilize hybrid selling to win the buy box. We're going to optimize inventory flow through Amazon FCs. And we're going to aim for high fill rates and low cost buy box. So we're going to just make sure that we are keeping your item in stock and that you are winning the buy box consistently. So again, we will discuss all of these 5 pillars for success on Amazon more in depth in later modules, but I wanted to briefly go over these with you for now. So now if there are any questions, please feel free to ask me, and then I will send this over to Bryce Macbeth, our founder and CEO of Reap Commerce, to go over some CRO basics. Thank you for your time.
Okay, Ryan, thanks so much for your tips on Amazon. Now I'm going to share with you 3 things that your website's probably doing to blow sales. And I have a feeling yours is doing it because many other websites do it as well. Let's take a look at Contacts Direct. It may not really seem obvious what they're doing to you at first, but you compare that to their competitor, 1-800-CONTACTS, and you'll see that the biggest difference in these 2 sites, other than a slight difference in the overall design of the site, is in the name. 1-800-CONTACTS has their phone number front and center, partly because it's their brand. But what's interesting here is that we've actually run a number of tests that suggest that when you put a phone number front and center in the header of a website, the likelihood of increasing sales goes up about 63%. And that's without generating a single additional phone call. And what we can make up about that is that it creates transparency and trust. It says that you'll be accessible if there's a problem and that you're not skirting around trying to avoid a phone call. So it gives the buyer certainty that you'll be there when you need them the most. So, number 1, absolutely put the phone number in the header front and center. Okay, so for number 2, the next thing I'm going to share with you is I'm going to use 2 different competing sites. So Melinda's Hot Sauce with Cholula's Hot Sauce. Okay, so the biggest difference here, not super obvious, they're both well-designed websites, certainly a different aesthetic. Melinda's really focuses in you on the product and the add to cart feature to drive you to a sale. There's also a find a store feature here as well. When you go over to Cholula, it's not too different, definitely focusing you in on the product and the flavor profile. There's not really a shopping feature here until you go somewhere else, but the biggest issue here that I see is these big high contrast social media icons here in the footer. And you'll find this a lot of times on a e-commerce site as well, right next to the product or in the header. The problem with this is even though these videos are great, is it takes you to yet another website, either Facebook or YouTube or whatnot, and all of a sudden you find yourself browsing all these great videos on YouTube and not doing what you intended to do, which was to go buy hot sauce. To complicate matters, I have all these things like my videos and my purchases, my viewing history, these subscriptions that I've signed up for. Ooh, gaming, that sounds interesting. And at this point, I've completely forgotten why I went to YouTube in the first place. I can't even remember. I can tell you somebody else that does this as well, and that is Poopery. So great website, well designed, certainly spent a lot of effort and attention to get this in tip-top shape. Looks amazing, but they've got their social media icons right there in the header. And the problem with that, as we've described, is that it takes you to YouTube, surfing these hilariously funny videos. I could spend all day watching these. Are very funny, award-winning I would assume they're amazing. And then again, I've got my temptations over here on the left calling me to go do something else other than buy a bottle of poopery. So we've run tests on this as well and can get double-digit bailout rates when the social media icons are presented in the header, prominently in the footer, or next to a product. So I recommend removing those. Let's make those a one-way valve. If anything, you can bury them in the footer somewhere, so if somebody's intentionally looking for it, they can find it, or put them on their About Us page. Something that's not front and center. You don't want to call people to action to go follow you on social media. You want them to actually buy the product. That can sabotage your conversions. So the next thing I'm going to share with you is has everything to do with page load speeds. So if you log into your Google Search Console, there's a series of invaluable reports, and in this case, I'm running some numbers on the response times and speed loads of the various pages on my website. And we've done a great job at like trimming a lot of the issues down so we can get our page speed to a much faster state. In any one of these, we'll actually click through to a different report. We can kind of drill into some detail. I'll pull up both slow and moderately slow pages here to see which ones have the biggest issues. So on this report, what I can see is there's a very slow page here that loads more than 3 seconds, but it's only 5 URLs that's having that issue, as opposed to one that's loading more than a second. That's a moderate issue, but there are 156 issues in that case. So let's take this one that's most severe just to see which page is causing the biggest problem. In this case, I have a page on my website that's called a salon mission statement. So pull that page up just to take a look at it. A lot of times what you'll find is just by looking at it, you kind of see some issues. And in this case, there's some formatting issues that might be throwing off the load speeds. And then if you throw that URL into yet another site like pingdom.com, paste this in here and start a test, you'll get a grade back almost instantaneously. In this case, unfortunately, I got a D because my load times were more than a second. And what's crazy is if you go from a 1 second load to a 3 second load, that can increase your bounce rates by as much as 30% or more. If you go from a 1 second load to a 6 second load, your bounce rate will increase by over 100%, almost doubling your bounce rate just because you have a really slow page. Not to mention, not only does it affect your conversion rates, but it also affects your search ranking. Google's not going to serve up a site that has a ton of slow pages on it. So the great thing about a report like this is it kind of breaks down where you're failing. So all these Fs that I'm getting gives me specifics on exactly what I need to do to fix this, or at least points me in the right direction. I'm not a developer, so this makes sense to me, but I wouldn't really know what to do with it. But if I send this over to my amazing developer, they'll get it fixed up, and we'll keep chipping away at our load speeds. So load speeds, huge, along with phone number in the header and the social media icons, making them less prominent and making that more of a one-way valve. I'm not saying hide it, but certainly don't make it so prominent. So there you have it, 3 quick fixes. You can do it yourself. If you can't do it yourself, certainly give us a call. If you're feeling overwhelmed or you need some help, that's what we're here for, reapcommerce.com. We also have education programs for all you do-it-yourselfers, and we have grants available to help with some of our fees in some cases for customers that qualify. So visit us at reapcommerce.com/Amazon to see our masterclasses and coaching programs, and thank you for watching.